Hello out there. Good morning, America. Today, October 14th, 2025, and welcome to the Heavy Montes Morning Show. Now, America. Now, I've gotten a lot of feedback from for my opinion of Israel. Okay, I said that Israel has become a terroristic state, and had a lot of disagreements in America. But the truth of the matter is, you can see for yourself. So, Heavy Montes' opinion is that the state of Israel, okay, can no longer, say that they have the right to exist if they're saying that the Palestinians don't have the right to exist. So I hope that the state of Israel is not saying that. Now, if they're not saying that, then I feel as though they have the right to exist. You understand? Now, you know Jewish philosophy, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. You see what I'm saying? You kill one of us, we kill three of you. You see, that's what's happening here, you know. And so I want to say something to America. Now, Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu went over and celebrated, right, the murder of 67,000 Palestinians. Okay, you know, and they have reduced the Gaza Strip to rubble. And Israel, even today, is saying that that Palestinian two-state solution isn't going to exist near them. You see, they refuse to attend the meeting. They refuse to even talk. You see what I'm saying? Just like MAGA Mike and the Republicans are doing. Refuse to talk to the Democrats because they don't want the world to hear the Democratic message, the Democratic Party message. They're saying, hey, we don't want, you know, Americans to see what the Democratic Party wants to do. But now we have strong leadership in the Democratic Party, regardless of what that corporate press is saying to you. The Democratic Party was solid. You understand? Now, Secretary Blinken, Biden appointee, came out this morning and said that the peace plan that Donald Trump is trying to do right now for Gaza was a Biden plan. You see, America, what happens to how they play a maggot is that they just, anything the Democrats want to do, the maggots on Fox News and right wing media come out and try to make it bad. Democrat Kamala came out and said, we're going to try to give, people, everybody, you know, some aid to help get a housing because the housing costs are too high. They came out, oh, no, 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 that's not true. That's lying. Saying she's lying. You see? You know? And so what I want to say to you, I'll talk about Democratic Party a little later, but I want to say to you, everybody out there this morning, that the Republican Party is criminal. And the Supreme Court, they're saying they're about to pass laws so the Republicans can be in control forever. The Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court has a lot to lose. Because the six maggots on the Supreme Court will be investigated, and we will see who and what they are. Right, traitors to the nation. You understand? Part of 2025, or part of that plan of the conspiracy to bring down a great nation. When they said they were going to make America great again, the word great meant we're going to destroy America. And they said that. Steve Bannon said it. Steve Bannon said that, we need to tear this government down and rebuild it. That's what they're saying. And that's some stupid, ignorant stuff. If you're a maggot, anybody with any common sense would say, okay, if what is the government? The government is services, people. You understand? The government, what? Let's look at this here. Let's break this ideology down, the so called white nationalism ideology. Okay? There are people who say they are white. Color my shirt. Okay? And this is an ideology, not a color. You understand? Because the Italians, when they came over here, Clarence Thomas, he's black as my shoe, and he's white. You see what I'm saying? When it comes down to ideology, you see, these women, what I'm saying, that are out there, handmaidens, what I'm saying, their ideology is one of hate. They hate themselves too. You see what I'm saying? They don't want to stand up and be a human being. and be equal. And that's okay. If they want to be a handmaiden, none of us will stop that. But they want to spread that to us and say that their God told them to do it, to come and do that, that their God is not capable, okay, of going to people and saying, follow me, that their God need them to use these murderistic tactics against the American people. You see? You understand what I'm trying to tell you, America? You know? So that ideology, this white ideology, is crippling the country in all aspects, okay? In every area. Frederick Douglass cursed the country. And he said, you will not be a great nation until you deal with this race thing and what you did to black people. You see? Because there's still that white nationalist group is still fighting black people. This is a war, on civil rights. Charlie Kirk said it himself. You see? You understand? This white ideology has been fighting since the Civil War. They invented the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan. You see what I'm saying? You know? And they should have been outlawed. These hate groups should have been outlawed in America. They decimated the Black Panther Party. You don't see no Black Panther Party around here. BLM? Shit. BLM, they call BLM Black Lives Matter. Okay? Your son gets blown down by the police, right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to find out what's going on. They're holding back information and shit, and you marching, right? And you got a bunch of maggots going out saying that Black Lives Matter is a criminal organization. They're telling you that Antifa, that don't even freaking exist, that's an ideology. And if Antifa did exist, they would be against Trump and fascism and his government, and they would be all for democracy. But somebody said, somebody told me. You understand? They told me that what the maggots are doing is making everything wrong look right. You see, everything that's wrong, they make it look right. And some also say this is Bible prophecy. You see what I'm trying to tell you? You know, the maggots out there, instead of living life, they're searching for death. They're saying the world is no good. They want to die. And heavy, I don't want to go with America. And I know you don't want to go with them either. I want to sit back, and listen to my theme song, The Sopranos. You know, I used to play it all the time. I look it up and put it up on the playlist. When I was DJing 2 o'clock in the morning, driving home, and driving through the streets of the greatest country in the world, and just looking around and being amazed at what we have built. You know, and here come along, Cassidy and the boys, Donald Trump, his gang. See, we can make a little bit of money off of them, right? We're gonna buy up all the news stations, the press, social media, you know, and we're gonna dumb these maggots down. We're gonna start with these little white boys. You see what I'm saying? You know, we're gonna dumb these little white boys to commit suicide. Huh? Give them AK-47s when they're 6 or 7. you know, so they outlaw and want to outlaw BLM, and Donald Trump actually sicked the military and the police and tear gassed the BLM, marches. The 2 BLM people died, but the KKK can march right down through your fucking city with no freaking problems. You understand? Huh? They can do that with no problem. Movies, got all kind of shit. Talk about that's the First Amendment, huh? Anything to abolish hate. You understand? And I don't give a damn even if it's free speech to a certain extent. That also should be identified. Huh? What you can say and what you can't say. I think it's fucking pretty stupid to say a person can say any goddamn thing. Can a motherfucker go outside, and yell fire, in a building when they ain't not? That's freedom of speech. That's what the fuck they're telling us, America. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why Heavy got a nasty about and Heavy say what he want to say. Because they said I can say what I want to say. You understand? You got to be able to say what you want to say when you're dealing with a maggot, because a maggot is a notorious liar. He'll tell you anything. You see what I'm saying? Say anything to you, you know? And if you're stupid enough and you don't check it out for yourself, you get in trouble. When I was in the military, I was a non-commissioned officer, and I asked some people, I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm taking correspondence courses so that'll help me get promoted. And I said, "Oh, I'm gonna take something. I take a few." And then one day I saw a guy. He said, "Oh, correspondence courses don't count anymore. Don't go toward your grades." And I believe that shit, but it was a lie. You see what I'm trying to say? I got behind and shit. I could have got promoted faster. If that's what I wanted to do. You know, you see what I'm saying? For the rest of my life. But you don't get rich in the military. You understand? There aren't any millionaire soldiers. I don't think we do it because we love our country. Do you understand what love of a nation is? The flag? You know, you don't let anybody take a document like Project 2025 and tell you that you can't be in love with all the great people of the nation. You see, now in Alaska where I lived at, we had a group. In Alaska, we have people from all over the world, right? And so all the different countries, you know, had a, and we had this at our civic center. It was a huge event. So the Russians had a booth. They had food. They told you all about Russian Americans. Native Americans had a booth. A lot of the different natives, African Americans had a booth. Everybody had a booth. And we went around and you had your passport stamped. And we learned all about the different people, okay, that live in our state. You see what I'm saying? You know? And I'm going to say something about this. And people will tell you this too. I walked into a Costco and Alaska, Anchorage is a pretty big city. And I'm telling you, I was looking for somebody who was married for the same, sex. I mean, same race, color, like two white people. I saw white men married to black women. You know, I saw all of it mixed up, no problem. You see what I'm trying to tell you? Natives married to white people. You know what I'm saying? Right there in Anchorage. You see what I'm saying? A Republican state. Wherever you read that the KKK was walking downtown in Anchorage, Alaska, they won't make it. You see what I'm saying? The white people won't allow it. I had a friend, and he had a big ass Confederate flag on his car. And he was a nice guy, because I like country music, and Marty, I forgot what guy name, one of these guys I love, country western singer, Marty Stewart. And Marty Stewart thought he was getting down some good stuff. He just said wrote the song "The Wait" with the Staple Singers, right? And I was playing in my yard. The guy with the flag came over, and he said, "Hey, give me a copy of that." I said, "No, I got another one. I had bought two CDs. I get the CD and everything." I talked to him, and I told him, I said, "Look, man, take that damn flag off your damn car." He got mad with me. "What the hell you talking about, man? Right sticks, right?" I said, "Man, you know where the hell you at?" You know what I'm saying? I said, "You'll get pulled over by the police." I said, "People are gonna, start harassing you for this shit because they don't want no problems." You know what I'm saying? So anyway, he came back to me a little later on. He took it off and he said, "Yeah, you're right." He said, "A lot of people just talking to him. This is friends." Even his boss told him, "Get rid of that shit." You know what I'm saying? You know, why would you take and be a slave master when you're not? That Confederate flag is some dirty shit, man, behind that crap. You see what I'm saying? That's some low down shit. Henry was raised in Jim Crow, I'm telling you. But let's go to the modern day. Okay, times, modern times. Donald Trump is at the end of the road. They ran out of time. You see? Now, the biggest fear we have now is that maggot Supreme Court, because they're going to come with some shit, you know. But I'm trying to tell you, America, the American people, all right, the American people, that's the reason I tell you to register as a Democrat. Just don't vote for them. Get your Republican numbers down so low, it'll be an impossibility for them to cheat. You see? That's the heavy plan. That's a moment of heaviness. All right? Register as a Democrat. Huh? And get the Republican number down so low, down to zero. You see, America? You know? Yeah. And if you live in a red state, you know, they insulted you, insulted your family, made you look like a fool. You understand? They took your religion away from you, took your God away from you. Huh? Took everything you had away from you, just like Joe Biden said, your soul. And he said, Joe Biden was telling you, he said, "I am here to save the soul of America." You understand? So you 77 million people, people right now who probably going to hell, you better listen to Heavy. You better go register and repent and get on your knees and say, Lord, forgive me for, and you can cuss out, forgive me for voting for a low down, dirty, low down pedophile, a pervert. Yeah, I know, America. That, yes, your congressman, he came to your area, told you that Donald Trump was going to do all of this stuff for you. Donald Trump did nothing for you. Your governor came to your area, Republicans, and told you that all this stuff was going to be all right. Huh? They told you that Donald Trump wants to make America great again, and he did not. So you have nothing to talk to him out there about, but to say to me that I was correct. Huh? That I was correct, and we are correct. We don't need to argue anymore, America. There's no dispute. Huh? What Donald Trump has done. Donald Trump, in my opinion, is guilty of treason. And if you don't know that, America, we have an article, 2, paragraph 4, I understand, that says if a president is guilty of treason, his whole entire cabinet and vice president must be removed immediately. Huh? And to me, Project 2025 is a treasonous document. It is direct evidence to prove that these people are attempting to overthrow democracy and the United States government. But they're too goddamn stupid to realize that. But, huh? You see what I'm trying to tell you? And the Supreme Court can't help their ass. You understand? You know, the only person in this game, America, that's protected and they say got immunity is Donald Trump. Bam, Bondi. You understand? You better stop making deals right now. You can call Heavy Monte. I used to be a legal clerk, and I write up something for your ass. I'll do your statement for you, so you can be ready to defend yourself. Because he might not be in a position to take and pardon you. I'm gonna tell you why. The last card that a criminal has is mental illness. You know, Donald Trump, he real smart on a Monday, dumb as hell on Tuesday. You, he probably played a game. He'll be going, the Supreme Court will come out and say, well, you cannot try him because he is mentally ill. He can't defend himself. You see, that's the game they're running right now in America, you know, because they got to be real careful, you know. And they might be in a trap. They might be caught in a trap. And that's not hold back if they are. Because, everyone can tell you, every crime has its downsides. You know, if you're committing a crime, most of the time there's a law that say you're guilty of it, and there are sentences for it too. You see what I'm saying? You know, so you know, it's a criminal party. We can all see it. They got the document right up there talking about we're gonna test the government, we're gonna tear that government down, we're gonna do this stuff right here. And Heavy talked about his oath as a soldier. We took an oath. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get the oath and I'm gonna read the oath to what I took to my country, and to my flag. You see what I'm trying to say? To my country and to my flag, and to everybody out there, to protect everyone, not just the white people, the black people. We took an oath to protect our nation and our people, and we have our president and the cabinet and the Supreme Court that is violating that oath, America. So we got to do something about it. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the Heavy Montes, for listening to the Heavy Monte morning show. Want to let you know we're getting a bunch of subscribers. 53, 55 subscribers in a couple of days. All right, it's growing. So you subscribe to the Heavy Monte YouTube channel. Please share the channel, America. I want everybody to know and be optimistic about our future. We're not going to allow a few ragtag, low down, right wing, dirty dogs like Republicans to destroy our happiness. We'll be happy, laugh, and have a great time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Heavy Monte for the Heavy Monte podcast and the Heavy Monte Comedy Show, saying good morning and never, ever vote for a Republican. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel.